Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden. We're going to head up towards Gothenburg once again, Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, the Swedish craft beer capital up on the west coast, and we're going to go back to a brewery who you've seen me review a good number of things from on the channel over the last little while, mainly just because their beers become a little bit more readily available through Systembolaget here in Sweden, which is obviously great, because for a long time you could only get a lot of these beers from Glassbanken and things like that. So for this review then, we are going to go back to OO Brewing, and we're having a look at my second beer from the 50/50 series, which is of course a series of IPAs brewed with two different hops. So this one is the Mosaic Simcoe, and as I said to you, it's a New England IPA coming in at 6.5% ABV. The last beer that I reviewed in this series was the Mosaic Citra, which was really nice, and the month before that, I think that was February, I would have had the 100 Citra as well, which was really nice. Apparently they are going to release one of these 50/50s every month, so you can look forward to that through the local and Småskalig. This one came out on the 1st of April 2020, and I'm curious to see which one they have in store for us next month. We'll need to see. But yeah, great to have more OO IPAs available on the market, and I look forward to reviewing a new one of these each month actually. These beers are very, very good when it comes to educating yourself about the different hop flavours and things like that, so I really would recommend these if that's something that you're interested in. I'd love to see them release a different 100 beer every month as well. That would be awesome. I really like single hop IPAs, and there's quite a few hops out there now that I'd like to try. You know, it'd be nice to try Sabro on its own. I don't know if I've ever had a Galaxy single hopped beer either, come to think of it. There's Girillo, there's, you know, Styrian Wolf, Styrian Dragon. There's loads of different hops out there these days that would be really nice to try on their own. Idaho 7 would be another one that's becoming quite popular actually, so hopefully they can look at that. Another cool move for this series of course would be to have a West Coast 50/50 and a New England 50/50, and then the same with the 100. I think that would be a really interesting move for OO to make, because they do have the Muscles and also the Evergreen, which are really good West Coast style IPAs, so they could probably take the base recipe from that and do something with it. But of course this brewery really made their name when it came to the hazy side of things, or at least Ole Anderson did when he was at Stigbergets, and then came the Narangi of course, and OO just really grew from there. But yeah, really looking forward to trying this one again, and hopefully you guys enjoy my take on this beer. We've got two lovely hops in this one to look at. Mosaic, which is slightly newer than its compatriot Simcoe. So Simcoe gives you the lovely kind of milky, passion fruity notes in my experience, and Mosaic's got that lovely lighter tangerine orange, but we'll talk about that later on. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from OO Brewing before. No doubt there will be some more added to that list in the near future. I think there's about 10 or so, 12 maybe down there just now, but there's all the usual social media down there too. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefetch, or whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about OO Brewing then, on to my brewery notes. So OO Brewing, as I've told you before, are based in Gothenburg, Göteborg in Sweden on the west coast, and they were founded back in 2011 by Olaf and Ole Anderson, who are not related to each other, but they are childhood friends, and for many years they were also avid home brewers. So the pair have always been really interested in beers, and Ole was apparently heavily involved in the Gothenburg beer scene since pre-drinking age, and he of course was the original head brewer at Stigbergets Brewery, and this is where the OO beers were originally produced. So while Ole is brewing, Olaf manages the business side of the brewery, and I think he still works for a consultation firm, a marketing agency consultation firm in Copenhagen, and he sort of does his work remotely from what I gather. But apparently they just enjoy making beers that they would like to drink themselves, and you do get quite a variety of different styles out of OO Brewing. I mean, you get West Coast IPAs, you get Baltic Porters. The Baltic Porters actually seem to be quite popular. They've got a really nice Pilsner, the Primo Pils. What else have I had from these guys? I've had can't think actually what else I've had from OO Brewing, but you know, Ole Anderson, he brewed Scotch ales and things like that when he was at Stig Barrett as well, but generally Ole is just a very, very capable brewer. But back in April of 2017, Ole made the decision to leave Stig Barrett, and he invested his time fully in OO, and the company invested in a brewery in Hisingen near the Tingstead Bridge, and it's equipped with a 2,000 litre brewing system, which means they can brew up to 500,000 litres of beer per year. In the first year they brewed 100,000 litres of beer, and they've been scaling up gradually over the last couple of years. I'm not sure how much they actually are brewing just now, but significantly more than 100,000 litres of beer per year, I'm sure. But as of April 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, they've produced around 65 or so different kinds of beer. And like I said, one of a really well respected Swedish craft brewery, this one. I'm not sure how well these guys are known outside of Sweden, to be honest with you. Really, it's Stig Barrett, it's Dugges, Beerbibliotek to an extent, and Omnipojo, of course, are the breweries that are really, really known outside. And a few of the bigger guys, like Sigtuna and St Erik's maybe as well. They're quite into, they're quite well known outside of Sweden, of course. But these guys are very, very good. There's a great beer scene up in Gothenburg, as I've told you before. If you're into your craft beer and you want to come to Sweden, Gothenburg is most definitely the place to go. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about OO Brewing for the moment. As I say, one of the really well respected Gothenburg craft breweries. If you want to learn more about them, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on. And of course, you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's get on and have a taste of this one then. I'm really curious to see what this has in store for us. So as you can see, the artwork on these beers is always the same. I don't know if they have like a proper colour coding system, to be honest with you. So yellow, I think the blue in this case is the Mosaic, is the Simcoe, and the green is the Mosaic, because remember the Mosaic Citra one that we had before was green and yellow, and then the 100 Citra was yellow. So I think they've got a proper kind of coding system going on with these ones actually, which is pretty cool. So they must have a different colour for each of the different hops, which is cool. So I'd be curious to know that. It'd be awesome to, if the guys from OO end up watching, I'd love to see if you've got a proper colour coding system for these different hops, because eventually you will run out of colours. So we'll need to see how that goes. But yeah, like I said to you at the start of the video, this one is a 6.5% New England IPA. With Mosaic and Simcoe added into it. Mosaic, as we know, is a sort of 13-14% alpha acid hop American, and it gives you lovely kind of juicy tangerine notes. Simcoe is one of the older higher alpha acid hops. I think it sits around 11% alpha acid, if I remember correctly, maybe 11 or 12, something like that. But yeah, it gives you that lovely, soft, almost milky passion fruity note. But there you can see, there is the OO Brewing symbol on the can there. Obviously don't drink if you're pregnant, as Harry at Blue Nose Beer Reviews would like to say, or he often used to say that in his old videos. I don't know if I can't think if he still does. But yeah, 440ml can, this one. I think I paid like 45 or 50 Swedish crowns for it, something like that. So yeah, that's, for those of you watching back home in Scotland, that's about £3.80 or something like that. So for a big 440 of a New England IPA, I think that's pretty damn good actually. The prices in Systembolaget are really pretty good. So yeah, let's get this guy out then, and we will get on with the tasting. The 50/50 Mosaic Simcoe from OO Brewing. I think this will be another very, very nice beer. Yes. Look at that. Yes, and you can smell some of these lovely notes from, I think it's the Mosaic that's jumping out at me straight away from this one, to be honest with you. So yeah, as you can see with this beer, it's poured a lovely kind of rich, it really has poured a kind of quite rich yellowy colour, this one, I would say. So it's not the haziest, this isn't the haziest or soupiest of New England IPAs that you're going to come across, and it's 6.5%, it's not going to be, to be honest with you. It's going to be kind of somewhere in the middle of the road, so you will get ones that are a lot thicker and soupier than this, but it definitely has a good bit of colour to it. I'd guess that they're maybe putting a bit of Golden Promise or something in this one, and probably a good little bit of oats and wheat and things like that. I think it said on the side there, this one definitely does have wheat, because you could smell a bit of that as it opened up. So yeah, it's got Yeah, wheat, corn, and havre malt, so malted oats. Ugh. But yeah, if you hold this beer up to the light, you can see there is a little degree of transparency to this one. As I say, not the haziest of the hazy IPAs that you're going to come across. Solid half finger, 2/3 finger of a frothy, kind of cream, ivory coloured head. Definitely not perfect white in my mind. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. So yeah, a really nice looking beer, this one. Good bit of haze to it, pretty much exactly what you would expect from a New England IPA. Sorry about the edit there, guys. Memory card on the camera messed up again. So yeah, let's take a little look at the aroma on this one then. I'm curious to see how this turns out. Yeah, that's nice. Straight away with this one, you've got a lovely, you'll notice the malt base on this, the wheaty bitiness of this beer kind of jumps out at you and goes kind of straight up the back of the nose, if you like. So yeah, you really can notice a little bit of that wheaty sort of astringency character to this one. But the more you sugar it up, the more, the more you sugar the beer up, the more you can feel it kind of smoothening out a little bit. And I guess it probably as well, to some degree, it's your nose saturating to that more astringent quality from the, it's your nose kind of saturating to that more astringent quality from the wheat. But yeah, you can smell a little bit of the creamier oats in there. You can smell a little bit of a kind of McVitie's digestive biscuity kind of thing going on as well. But I think the malt base in this one is leaning a little bit more towards the wheat. I'd be really curious to know how much they change the recipe of this at month on month for the different members of the series, because I would guess that they would tweak it, but I think, maybe about 90% of it, around that kind of thing, that is probably it's 90% is probably the same beer as the last one. But yeah, this one definitely strikes me as being a bit more wheaty and bitey. Lovely kind of creaminess from the oats. I think there is a bit of that. I've got a feeling there's a bit of golden promise in here, because it's got that lovely kind of smooth McVitie's digestive kind of thing to it, which is great. There's a wee teeny, I don't know if there's a wee teeny little hint of caramel in it, but it definitely has a bit of that McVitie's digestive sweetness in the centre of the palate. And on the hoppy side of things, you've got some really nice notes there. So for me, you've got a little touch of earthiness from the Mosaic, which is great. You're always going to get that out of Mosaic. And then you've got a good bit. This one to me leans towards the floral end of the spectrum, and again I think that's the Mosaic. I always found, Simcoe did have a bit of a kind of floral and grassiness to it, floral quality and grassiness I should say. But I never found it that pronounced with it. Mosaic, I think, is the one that will be contributing more of the green side of the hops out of these ones, I would think, particularly when it's a higher alpha acid. So yeah, as I say, 14%, I think, roughly for Mosaic, or at least high 13s, and then about, I think, 11ish for Simcoe, if memory serves right. But yeah, you get a little bit of lighter grassiness for it, but for me there is a good chunk of floral character to this beer, which is quite nice. Yeah, I really like how that goes together. But on the fruity side of things, you've got a good bit of passion fruit. The Simcoe passion fruit in this one actually comes out a little bit darker, I think, which is interesting, because as I said, I've always found Simcoe to be quite juicy and almost milky in its passion fruity notes, and you do get a little bit of that as well, but at the back of the nose, because of the wheat, you start to get some of the darker elements to it. But you've also got a nice little bit of a kind of juicier tangerine orange in there as well. But yeah, there's a little bit of I do get a wee bit of blueberry out of this one. You can sometimes get a wee edge of blueberry out of Mosaic, and it comes out, usually you can get it in the flavour sometimes right on the tip of the tongue. But there is another wee bit of tropical fruit in there, maybe like a papaya or a kind of pineapple-y note, or something like that. So there's a really interesting kind of combination of things going on in this beer, in my mind. So yeah, I do like how this one goes together. Actually, the aroma of this is very nice. Some classic elements of both hops coming out here, but generally speaking, for a New England IPA, quite floral in my mind, and quite wheaty. Really leaning towards that kind of floral, wheaty, kind of spicy side of things. But you've got all the juiciness and the creaminess and stuff that you would normally expect of the style. So yeah, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one before you get stuck in. But we're going to taste this beer now. This one is the 50/50 Mosaic Simcoe from OO Brewing in Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden, from a very good brewery in my mind. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. That's really nice. First thing, straight away, this is just very, very drinkable, ridiculously drinkable. Thumbs up to OO Brewing once again. I mean, it's 6.5%. You know, it's not an imperial or a double or anything like that. But I think that is the key thing with the slightly, you know, with the kind of middle of the road New Englands like this. I mean, 6.5% is your kind of standard here for at least amongst the Swedish breweries for the New England. 6.5% is the absolute standard, and you've got with these beers, if you're releasing the lower alcohol ones rather than having them being thick and creamy as hell, you've got to have that little bit of oiliness and drinkability, but also a bit of crispness to them as well. And I think OO really have got a kind of perfect balance in this one. This beer is really nice. I think this one to me comes across as being a little bit better actually than the Mosaic Citra was, and I don't think it is just down to the different hops. I think there is I think the actual malt base and the way that the backbone of the beer goes together is a little bit better. So maybe they have tweaked the recipe a little bit on this one. Wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, that is really nice. This one, the fruitiness, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I will say the fruitiness has got a really quite lovely balance to it in this beer. So yeah, this is just really, really drinkable. Massive thumbs up to OO Brewing from me on this one. I think they've done a really good job here. In terms of the malt base then, straight away with this beer, you get a lovely bit of that kind of pale malty quality that just blankets the middle of your tongue. Right? When you go further towards the back of the palate, you start to get this kind of stronger, more bitey, wheaty notes, but it's not too bitey. The aroma, I think, gives you a little bit of a false impression almost, because you think that this beer is going to be a lot more bitey on the wheaty side of things than it actually is. Yeah, there is a good bit of smoothness to the wheat there, but it's almost just right in the centre of the palate where you start to get a bit of bitiness, and I wouldn't be surprised if there is just a wee touch of Pilsner malt or something in the malt base of this one too, because you can just feel that little level of crispness coming out of this one, which is nice. Yeah, I really like how the malt base in this goes together. I think this is quite a bit different, I think, from the last one. Let me know your own thoughts on the malt base of this beer in the comment section below, but I do find this one quite different from the other ones that I've had. When you move further forward on the palate, then you can feel that it retains that little bit of lightness to it, but then as you reach the kind of front, almost the front kind of third of your tongue, you get that bit where the oaty creaminess comes out there, and in the very centre of your palate you can feel a little bit of that kind of biscuity quality. I think there is golden promise in here. There is just something in my head that's really saying that lighter, that kind of light but still quite smooth biscuity graininess that's coming out of this beer is really nice. In the very centre of your tongue, you've got a wee bit of a sweet kind of biscuity note to the beer as well. You really get a little bit of that more oily McVitie's digestive thing too. Yeah, this really is pretty damn nice, I have to say. And the malt base in this is really, really well done. It's got a great balance. The wheaty, little bit of wheaty bitiness, like I said, a little bit of Pilsner crispness. Really, the way that I think there's pale malt and stuff in here really forming the base, but you get a good bit of that smooth kind of pale malt there. You can feel a little bit of oaty creaminess further forward, and a wee bit of that biscuity, McVitie's digestive biscuity note in the middle of the palate. It really suits the hoppy side of the beer well. But on the hoppy side of the things, then back corners of the palate, there's definitely a little bit of that earthiness from the Mosaic. You can really, really get that out of it. As you come further forward along the side of the palate, the earthiness, it pushes forward a little bit, then it changes quite quickly to be a nice big kind of floral aromatic note. And as you move round the front curve of the palate, it's just that little bit lighter and grassy. Then behind the front curve of the tongue, you've got that big oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer, and it's got a little bit of an oily quality to it there as well. And I'm interested whether that's I wonder if that is the Simcoe that's given it the more oily note, because I think I've always found that Mosaic is just a little bit wetter, but that's another interesting point to make. Let's look at the fruity side of the beer then. So yeah, the way that the hops go together in this one is really very nice. I mean, there's a lot of breweries try and fire in loads and loads of different hops and things like that, and it can work really well. I mean, Amar, one of my favourite IPAs was always Amar Batch 1000, and I think you know, that the combination of hops in that was really kind of top class actually. I really like that. But at the same time, going for something simple like this, just 2 hops or whatever, you know, that can also work very, very well. So if you go to the back of that fruity part of your palate, you do get the kind of the passion fruity notes that you'd expect from the Simcoe, and you do get a little bit of darkness, a little bit that slightly darker sour kind of quality from the passion fruit at the very back, but then very, very quickly it kind of brightens up and becomes kind of smoother and more almost sort of milky and tropical, if that makes sense. You do get that kind of typical, slightly more milky-ish passion fruity note out of the Simcoe, which is great. And then as you reach the kind of front half of the fruity part of the palate there, you get a lovely kind of juicy tangerine note out of this one, and there is a wee bit of oiliness to the tangerine as well, which is great. And if you go to the very kind of front tip of your tongue, for me there is just a wee teeny hint of that blueberry subtlety that you can sometimes get from Mosaic as well. It's just right on the very kind of edge tip of your tongue, which is great actually. And this combination of hops I think is really, really nice. Simcoe, to be honest with you, that's the sad thing. Simcoe's been kind of forgotten about a little bit in favour of Galaxy recently, because Galaxy is a bit more pungent, and it's also got kind of a bit more complexity to it. You can sometimes get pineapple and things with Galaxy. So Simcoe, I think, has been a little bit forgotten about in comparison in recent times. There's Idaho 7 now that's got a similar profile. Another one out in the States too, pardon me, would be Eldorado, but I've seen a couple of breweries using that recently. Seems to go through peaks and troughs. Different American hops go through peaks and troughs here. So that's another interesting point to make about that. But the combination of hops in this and the fruitiness is really nice. Pretty much nice, smooth, kind of passion fruity note towards the back of the palate. A little bit of a darker kind of sour quality. As you move further forward, there's some nice kind of tangerine oily qualities to the beer. Then right on the tip of the tongue, there's a wee bit of a kind of blueberry thing as well, which is interesting. But yeah, I really like how this one goes together. I think this is the best out of the hundreds. I've only tried one of the 100s, right enough, but out of the beers I've had in these kind of single double hop series from OO so far, I think this is the best one. So yeah, have a go at this one for yourself and just see what you think. Actually, I'm curious to see what hop it is next month. I do wonder if it will be Simcoe and something else, because they seem to, you know, there's been Citra on its own, then there's been Citra with Mosaic, and then this month there's Mosaic with Simcoe. So maybe it's going to be Simcoe and something else in the next one. That could be a really interesting thing to see what it is. But yeah, this one, I think this is really very nice. As I say, big thumbs up from me. I'm just curious as to what the next one is. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of the beer, then I find this one kind of fairly, it's kind of pretty much right in the middle of the road, bang in the middle of mid-bodied. Carbonation is nice and smooth. There is an element of oiliness to this beer as well, which is great. So it's a really smooth, it really is a very smooth and almost oily New England IPA in my mind. So I really like how that goes together. You've got a nice little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one, but I don't think it's any more than 25 or 30 IBUs. The hops are really just spot on in this one. You've got some nice floral aromaticity, you know, the floral aromaticity from, which I think is from the Mosaic, and the earthiness, they do add to the bitterness, and that comes out a little bit more in the aftertaste. Those kind of linger there. But yeah, you've got a nice crispness and smoothness to the malt base, kind of fighting each other out a little bit of sweetness on top of that. So the malt base is really quite nicely balanced in my mind, and then you've got these lovely juicy fruity notes. And in fairness, when you go further into the aftertaste too, it just gets a little touch more oily and starts leaning towards the kind of tangerine note from the Mosaic. So yeah, a lovely beer, this one, and I have to admit I've really enjoyed this actually. So pick this one up while you can. I'm not sure how available it's going to be over the next little while actually, but this is the best one I think I've tried so far of the 100s and the 50s, I think, but I'm sure there will be some others out there that will ask a few questions. Let's just see. But yeah, thanks again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from OO Brewing as well. We will definitely return to these guys next month for the next instalment of this series, and yeah, thanks again for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and definitely check out OO Brewing. If you can still get the Anniversary Baltic Porter, I really would recommend that as well. That was an awesome beer. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The 50/50 Mosaic Simcoe New England IPA, 6.5% from OO Brewing in Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden. Slangen, Skull, catch you guys very soon. Cheers.